Yeah, I just think it's one of those ones just to, when you talk to palace people, just put a little pin in. I'm no mad Republican in Australia, but I got to say, it was noticeable that during the coronation, we were just the realms. Literally, they list every title from here, there and everywhere, but didn't say the countries of which he was becoming the monarch. I think a lot of people noticed that in places like Australia. Our issues is the same as everyone else, where for our lives, the institution was defined by his mother. And in a scenario where, okay, I get it, it's priorities, you can't go everywhere all the time. We are going to get, the expectation is that in Australia, after the next federal election, which could be as early as mid next year or the start of 2025, we've got a minister whose entire responsibility under the current Labor government here is to look at the establishment of a republic. Now, I know there might be some plans to throw a bit of Wills and Kate at it to remind us about succession and whatever you feel of Charles and Camilla, this one's coming, and then King George is coming, and how cute is Charlotte? But the charm offensive, it is really important in the modern age to actually wed people together. Otherwise, they run the risk of ending up in a scenario where, yes, formally there's this connection, but if you don't even get a shout out when the crown was going on the head, people start to ask, why are we doing this?
Oh, massively. I mean, my relationship with Australia and yourselves, Paul. I mean, yeah. I speak very, very strongly when I've said I was very surprised that when you look at the amount of activity, not only throughout the country, I think Charles has done a pretty good job in the UK. He's been to the four corners of the UK. He's been out and making sure he was visiting every sort of religious faction he could. But I think the real serious work is done abroad. And you talk about the realms, I think you're totally right. It was all bunched in together, and we've got to look at our relationship on the global stage of who are our major friends and partners. And I understand why the government would have wanted Charles and Camilla to go to France and Germany. However, when are these big tours planned? I mean, the last big tour we had was Harry and Meghan back in 2018. That is an absolutely extraordinary period of time to have passed. I mean, like you said, most Australians, Canadians, Kiwis, their relationship is embedded with the Queen being head of state. And for the crown to be on somebody's different head, I think it's a bit of a big pill to swallow, shall we say, for certain factions of society. So listen, if Charles is going to get out there, he's got to do it soon. There's got to be a plan to do it. Whether there's talk of William and Kate coming over to Australia, doing a big tour to sort of quell the dissenters in the Republican quarters, I'm not so sure. I think Charles and Camilla have got to come out first. I think it's going to be a rapturous tour. But then you look at it, they're both sort of 75, 76, and it's not going to be a big, long tour like Harry and Meghan did, 3 weeks, getting over to all the different communities that a big royal tour has to offer. I just don't want it to be a damp squib. I want it to be full throttle and for us to come and see you guys as soon as possible.
Bloody oath, and we get to be able to have a chat to you in person, even more so into the future. So if that's the reason, then all good for us. All right, so let's talk about William and Kate, because obviously they are the future. They're also so important to how the monarchy is presenting itself. Are they doing enough? I know that there's Earthshot. I know that there's the occasional this, that and the other. I know they want to raise their kids, but, the reality is about what their life has ahead of it. Do you think that they could start to step up a bit more, to start to be doing something every month, let alone a couple of weeks, that is really big and really visual and really impactful?
Well, listen, first and foremost, let me sit on the fence with this one before I delve into it, because I think that they have a difficult situation at hand, because they've been pretty much waiting to see what the king wanted to do, whether he would get out to see the realms, shall we say, whether he was come down under for 2 or 3 weeks, out to Canada, where was he going to go in the Caribbean, was he going to go to Europe? So many different things were at play, and I think that they were pretty much handcuffed in terms of their plans. They couldn't decide whether to get over to Australia. Was the king going to go over there first? I know we'd have Princess Anne over a few months ago. However, where is their position within the monarchy? I mean, that seems ridiculous to say that, but they kind of have to fit into a box until the king decides what he's going to do. We've had this transitional year finished now. Now we're going to see a bit of activity hopefully towards the end of the year, and then the next 12 months afterwards. Talk of the King going to Kenya in the next few weeks. Obviously, that will be a big Commonwealth country ticked off. Obviously, the relationship due to his late mother finding out that she was going to be the monarch when she was in Kenya. However, what are Kate and William doing? We saw William over in New York just a couple of days ago. It was a bit of a damp squib. There wasn't a real big lot of interest from the UK or the New Yorkers or the US side. No Kate with him. You didn't get the glitz and glamour. When I was in Boston with them last year for the Earthshot Awards, it was fantastic. I kind of think, unfortunately for William, you need Kate there to give it a real big push. Unfortunately, he needs a bit of the glamour. I mean, I get on with him. I think he's a great guy. He's a great ambassador for our country and the Commonwealth. However, without Kate, it's undeniably going to be a few notches down the run of the news list, so to speak. So if she doesn't go to Singapore with him for the next Earthshot Awards, what does that mean? What does it look like? I mean, undoubtedly, they want to create a different environment for their children. They've wanted to be for them during the school holidays and taking them back to school. That's why we didn't get William over to cheer on the Matildas or the Lionesses in the final. And so where does it leave them? Hopefully, we're going to see a bit more activity, because there are sort of rumblings sort of inside and outside the palace wall that are they doing enough? Are the Prince and Princess of Wales stepping up to the plate as we know that they should be? And I guess we just got to wait and see.